think if you're looking for something that's going to enrich you, you need to think about your intentions as to why you would want to go to Oxford, or why you'd want to go to Oxbridge, or why you'd want to do a degree apprenticeship.
Yeah.
Because if you're doing it for clout and status to say, oh, I went to Oxbridge, or like, you have to be real with yourself. Only you can know whether or not, you know, your intentions are genuine. Or you want to finish saying, oh yeah, I don't have any student tech and I've been earning 55k for like the last year or so. Like, who are you doing this for? Hi everyone, and welcome to Apprenticeish, where we talk all about apprentices, apprenticeships, kind of.
My name's Josephine.
And my name's Alika.
And we are your hosts of the Apprenticeish podcast.
Okay. Hi Josephine.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah?
I'm recovering from when you just made me laugh just now.
It is. Oh gosh. Okay, so we are here to talk about apprenticeships versus university. This is not going to be the only episode, I don't think.
Yeah, it's too big of a topic.
Much, to discuss, but I'm definitely a first topic point. Do you want to talk about your background so that we can give people context as to like how we're discussing this and where we're coming from?
Yeah, so I have experience at a traditional university. I went to a Russell Group University after sixth form, and I was there for like 2.5 years, and then left that course and started a degree apprenticeship. So in my solicitor apprenticeship, I was repeating modules that I had done at my previous university. So yeah, I've got quite a good extensive background in both routes.
Nice. How long were you in uni for? I don't know if you want to say that.
2.5. It's blurry. 2.5
over
years?
2 years.
Yeah, over 2 years. I'll say over 2 years.
That's fine.
Yeah, because there was like resits and there was time out. So in total, I would say like over 2 years. Yeah.
So I went to university as well. I dropped out after 3 months. I went to Birkbeck and studied law. I think I only started to study 3 modules, which we covered like quite quickly in the beginning of the apprenticeship.
Right, okay.
And I was also working at the same time. So I was working in an immigration law firm. It wasn't a law firm, an immigration firm, not law firm.
Okay.
So they had like qualified lawyers and also immigration consultants, because you don't need to be a qualified lawyer to advise on immigration law.
Okay, I did not know that.
Yeah, I mean, hey, there's pros and cons to that, I'll be real. I've heard of some very nightmare stories of clients interacting with people they thought were consultants and jump scare. So that's like just a little bit about our background. But we're going to be covering a few different topics. And I wanted us to start off with friendship. So friendship, social life, interacting with different people, getting to know people. How would you say your experience at university with interacting with other students, getting to meet new people was compared to obviously the apprenticeship program?
Yeah, they're so different. I feel like university, like our British uni culture is like notorious. Like people come from outside of the UK
everywhere
to come and do freshers and stuff like that. So so it's very like young, wild and free. I remember like during Freshers Week there was a theme every night where you had to like dress up and go to this event and that one, and then everyone would get freshers flu afterwards because of how much activity was going on. But yeah, like huge gatherings, thousands of people, and there's a lot of like space and time to explore. And you've got your student union, like you'd be going out 3 or 4 times a week. Maybe maybe you shouldn't do that, maybe actually. More, maybe less. maybe less. Well, and then obviously as an apprentice, you're working, you're doing a 9 to 5. You've also got university, so the social activities are much different. Yeah. And the, I would say the space that you have to mess up and make mistakes and misbehave or like get too drunk, it doesn't exist as an apprentice, because you are representing your firm, you're representing your company, you are representing somebody who's aspiring to be a lawyer. So you can't do the things in university that you could say, oh, in 5 years' time, like, oh, that was just when I was being stupid. Or, do you know what I mean?
The grace is not afforded.
Yeah, like you see students like bumping train and tram for fun, and it's just like, you can't do that as an apprentice. Like, you can actually lose your like license to practice law for doing something as stupid as like not paying your train fare or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, very, very different in terms of the lifestyle and how you socialize and how you behave. And also a really like important difference is that you're surrounded by your age mates. So when I was in uni, it was just thousands of people all between 18 and 21, 22. Whereas as an apprentice, you're most likely to be the youngest person.
Yeah, in the company.
Yeah. So you're making friends, but it's different types of friendships, because you can't, you know what I mean? You're making friends with parents and young people and newlyweds and older people, like, so it's a different type of friendship, I would say.
I think it's interesting, just going back to the freshers point. I definitely have heard a few stories of people traveling to Leeds for freshers,
yeah,
like from London, by the way. And back and forth
100%,
just to visit different uni freshers. That's crazy.
It's almost like not a staycation, but like a mini holiday.
Oh, right.
Because you're going to a different city, nobody knows you, there's thousands of people, like students your age.
That's crazy.
And everybody's like excited because it's Freshers Week. And yeah, people, like, I remember at my freshers, there were people from other unis, other countries.
That's crazy.
I mean, if you subscribe to that culture, if you like to club and drink and do like costume parties and stuff, then that is your, like, you'll have a wonderful time.
Costume parties are cool.
Yeah.
I quite like them.
Yeah. I'm thinking back to the costumes that I put together.
It is well.
Yeah.
We're here. It's giving DIY. Yeah. Okay. I think my experience was like virtually the opposite to yours. I didn't go to freshers. I was working. I don't think there was, I don't know, freshers culture wasn't strong as far as I'm aware. I went to summer school. Before I started my law degree.
What do you mean summer school? Like, what would you do there?
So they would teach you, like, you know, we have study skills workshops. We had like an equivalent to that for people who hadn't studied recently. So you could basically learn how to study.
Right, okay. I thought it was like a pre-law sort of thing.
No.
Oh, okay, fine.
Because we had, obviously it's an evening uni. The evening uni is going to attract working people because they work during the day. Yeah. So, there were quite a lot of the students that were there. Most of them were older than me, mature students, children, families. No one was trying to live like the uni lifestyle. I literally, like, I've had conversations with people and they were like, I'm coming here because I don't want that uni lifestyle. Yeah. They were like, I like to spend money. And I was like, me too. I think it was a very different experience, basically. I don't think I've ever had the typical uni experience.
Yeah. I feel like it's like something you look forward to if you're like, I don't know, if you're born and raised in London, to go, like, your money's going to last longer in, like, Nottingham or Manchester or wherever.
1000%.
Yeah, so it's, like, go crazy. And also, like, I noticed a lot of people who, you know, beforehand were living with their parents and, like, lived in a very, like, strict household or whatever, go absolutely wild. So everybody has their own motives and intentions for freshers. But for me, I don't know, because I'm older, I'll be like, it's not worth it, guys. But I know some people that won't listen. So.
It is well. We're here.
Yeah.
I think the point that we're making is that, like, social life, like where you go to meet people, isn't the same as an apprenticeship. during the apprenticeship, you'll probably end up meeting people as a whole who are like older than you. If you're starting like straight from A levels, obviously if you're mature already, you're just going to be meeting your age mates. You are likely to meet people obviously in the workplace, networking events, training events, but also if you are going to like go out there or you really want to build new connections, you're going to have to partner yourself with some kind of organization. So for example, and shout out to them because they're doing a really good job, the Black Apprentice Network.
Yes.
They have like quite a few socials and like I don't know if they do training events or
I think they do it all.
They do like a lot of different stuff. So connecting yourself to something that already has something going is probably the best way for you to network, not only across, because obviously when you go to uni, everyone's there from every course. So whereas I think it's easier for us to bump into other law students because you can go, if you really want to, you could go into the uni.
Yeah,
but it's not by campus. Yeah,
but then also the odds of bumping into another apprentice on campus on your study day, is very low. That is probably, unless you want to go on the weekends, that study day is your only day to be on campus and to be surrounded by other law students. So it's most likely that you'll be seeing LLB students.
Exactly.
Who are living a different lifestyle. So, so they can afford to chinwag and chat because they've got more time on their hands, whereas you just have that one day. So you're probably not going to put your head up on that study day when you're on campus. So I feel like as an apprentice, you do have to sort of facilitate that yourself if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah. You have to be very intentional and deliberate.
Yes. I mean, we are starting to see some community building in the degree apprentice community.
Just because there's more of us.
Yeah. And there've been more socials and stuff. So, it's good to see. We just need to bring it up to the same, I guess, social standard as like the traditional route. I think as well, like I'm thinking back to like clubs and societies as well, because like that's a real thing in both the apprenticeship and also full-time uni. You're still attached to a university. So when I was at full-time uni, I think I was in the archery club and I never went. But they had really good emails, which made it sound really cool. But you still never went.
No, it was cold. It was cold. Yeah. So I only went during October, November, December.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then January, it was too late.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to leave my house to go archery club.
I feel like
if I lived in halls, it's 1 minute away.
Yeah.
But no.
But I feel like that's a good example of how there's way more. Like the clubs and societies at university are bigger and much more of a bigger deal. Like they'll rent out arenas for like their football or their basketball games. There's like varsity sports clubs, cheerleading club, and then there's like loads of clubs for your interest. You just have to go to your student union and you'll find everything from A to Z. Because I remember like the rowing. There was like a rowing. Society and like canoeing or whatever, kayaking.
At the farm, we do dragon boat racing.
Do we?
Yeah. They had the competition last year. Yeah.
I did not know this.
It was really cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, and this is very specific to out where we work.
There are a couple of firms that do dragon boat racing.
Really?
Sorry, I'm just saying, because when I was applying for apprenticeships, once I found out it existed, I was very excited.
Why haven't you gone?
Why haven't I gone?
You should join.
It was cold. We're seeing a recurring
excuse. It's a recurring
I don't want to
go. But I just think it's way bigger. Both sides have options. You can mix with like-minded people at your workplace if you join like BAME or the Green Committee. Like there's all sorts of things for all sorts of causes. But I just think it's on a smaller scale because it's just members of your company, which can be from like 5 to maybe like 50 people. So that doesn't hold a candle over university
society.
And the scale of those.
I would also wanted to add on to that as well. There's there was this person that I was talking to. basically, we spoke about degree apprenticeships. We did a mock interview together. She ended up getting the apprenticeship, and when she got the offer, she said no and decided to go full-time uni anyway.
Okay.
The apprenticeship route, she decided just wasn't for her. I was like, fine.
Fair.
She obviously, at some point, we communicated about how she's found uni, all that kind of stuff. And it helped me recognize and appreciate there's some experiences that you're exposed to at university that you will never be exposed to during your apprenticeship. And I say that because she was attached to one of her societies who brought in like a very well-known, I won't say the name, but a very well-known guest speaker. And I was just like, that is very exciting. But had you done the apprenticeship in that particular area of the UK, I can almost put money on that you would never have had that interaction. And that interaction would never have changed your life.
I see. Yeah. That's why it's so important, because obviously like we're apprentices with traditional university experience, so we're biased and we're always going to advocate for apprenticeships. But no, okay, I'm always going to advocate for apprenticeships, but it's so important to make sure that you're making the decision for yourself, because nobody should be telling you whether you should do an apprenticeship or a university course. Like, they both have their pros and cons, and also some people need that space to
while out.
Yeah, but not necessarily. So sometimes I'm like, okay, go find yourself, explore, whatever. But sometimes, why rush? Like, you've got I think the retirement age is increasing even. You've got a good 50, 60 years. That's an overstatement. But you've got a long time to be working for your 9 to 5 and putting money in your pension pots and stuff like that. Some people don't see the rush. They're like, what's the rush? Why do I need to jump into working when it's always going to be there for me, and I'm going to have to do it for the longest part of my life?
Yeah.
So if you want that university experience, not just because of freshers and drinking and making all these friends, but also like to just be an 18-year-old, a 19-year-old, a 21-year-old, and make mistakes and like learn from them, and not be in any rush, you know, to become an adult where you're paying tax and you're doing
those tax bills.
Yeah, you're paying national insurance, and you know, you have to work for your money and stuff like that. Like some people are like, why would they rush that when an opportunity is there to have 3 years of enjoyment and hard work, but more enjoyment than this route. This route is like, you really have to schedule it. Yeah. And you have to say no to some things. Like 3 years in a row, my department fun day, where they'd go like skating or like on a treasure hunt or whatever, has been on the day of an exam. Yeah, that's crazy. So it's like, there's not even any choice. I can't go. Yeah. And so, yeah, I feel like the time freedom that you would have, even, I don't know if that's a phrase, time freedom. Maybe it would be time wealth. What's the opposite of time poor? I mean, whatever it is, that's what's waiting for you if you go into university. Abundance of time. That's nice. Yeah.
I think there was a point that I wanted to make about what you just said, but I can't remember. It's gone right out of my head. But I do think the point being is that there are some experiences that you will have at uni that you'll just never have during the apprenticeship. And it's not that the apprenticeship is better, it's just different. Yeah. And I think I kind of want to link that into well-being. I know it's not next, but yeah.
We can come back to
I want to link it into well-being because obviously social health can be very closely linked to mental health. How, like, you know, the community that you have around you, how you see yourself, all of that influences your well-being. So I just kind of wanted to touch on the very point of just well-being as a whole. Yeah. Your well-being if you go to university and your well-being if you do a degree apprenticeship, it very much, I think it depends on who you are as a person. your mindset, how you operate, your, we always have training on resilience. Everyday resilience.
And motivation.
I don't want to bounce back from anything. Just let me rest on the ground.
Yeah.
But no, I think there's a reason why in the apprenticeship in particular, there's so much conversation about resilience and on our skills days and, those emails.
Managing stress.
Yeah. Because the apprenticeship program in the nature of it can be so taxing mentally, physically, and socially in some way, shape or form. I've said no to like 4 weddings.
4?
Yeah, from my because they're the day before the exam, on the day of the exam.
Yeah.
I just don't feel comfortable doing any of that. I do think that there's something to be said about the support that's available.
Yes.
I don't know if you want to take that point.
Yes, I think... To be honest with you, it's hard to compare the mental health support between solicitor apprenticeships and law school because there's not enough transparency about solicitor apprenticeships. I can say from my own experience, there are a lot of resources available from my employer and from my university.
Yeah.
So, you've got HR who are prepared to provide you with reasonable adjustments. You've got occupational health assessments to identify anything that you might be struggling with. They've got employee counselling services. You can get time off. You can get increased working from home days. And there's all these things to support you and identify problems when you're a solicitor apprentice. That's the good side. The bad side is very, we can't even comment on it because we just don't know. Do you know what I mean?
I was actually trying to do some quick research about the mental health of solicitor apprentices. And it literally just talks to you about how to be a solicitor apprentice.
Yeah, there's nothing. And even where you see that a solicitor apprentice has left a firm prematurely, there's nothing... Do you know what I mean? It's all hidden away. And it's just we actually don't know if there are solicitor apprentices struggling or they've been failed. We can't, it's just, there's no transparency there that we don't know what's going on over there. But I can tell you what is in place for solicitor apprentices. And I feel back to what you were saying about resilience and stress reduction training and all of that, I feel you've almost got double the resources. You've got the university and their study skills and disability resources and all of that. And then you've got your employer and whatever they're willing, whatever is in your employment package with them. Whereas back when I was in university, the resources and the support for mental health was horrible. It was really bad. And that's not just me saying that, that was just the general consensus,
across unis.
Across the uni, the students...
I didn't even know what mines were. I didn't know who's the email. It was just go to your lectures.
You were literally I'm not even trying to compare uni to prison, but you were literally
jail time.
You were literally a number, and you could disappear for 3 weeks, and nobody would unless your friends were checking in, nobody would know. Do you know what I mean? I should put a disclaimer, well, not disclaimer, I should caveat that with this was 2015-16. But so there might have been a lot of improvement, a lot more funding. But back then, student suicide rates were horrible. It was I think over 100 people died. 100 students committed suicide in my year. Back then, studying law is something that there needs to be sort of investment into health anyway. And I just felt back then law school had a long way to go. So I would say personally that being a solicitor apprentice in the 2020s is very, I feel much more supported than I did back then. So yeah.
I think there's definitely work to be done safeguarding apprentices as a whole. There are, I don't know, just a lot of different situations that happen, and obviously the firm and also the learning institution has some kind of duty to support them, I would imagine. But I think I agree with the whole like lack of transparency. One of the things about apprentices not finishing their apprenticeships is that unless something has really gone terribly wrong, you'll never hear about it, of course. People aren't gonna, I wouldn't really imagine, nor have I come across any story about apprentices leaving their apprenticeship for bad reasons. Like I've heard people deciding to do a career change or become self-employed or do their own business.
Okay.
But leaving because, I don't know, that was a really bad workplace situation or I had a mental health crisis or something like that. I'm not saying that it's not being spoken about because it doesn't exist. I think maybe there just isn't space for that conversation. Even on my YouTube channel, actually, I created a very short snippet of, well, it's not really that short, it's like 10 minutes. But I basically had a mental breakdown during my apprenticeship. I don't know why you're shocked.
And you filmed this?
You were there.
I was there?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
You weren't in the video.
Okay.
But like, definitely had a mental breakdown when we were doing criminal law.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I communicated that through, there was a lot of stress, there was a lot going on, and it's called I crashed because I literally had a mental breakdown. So I think, I don't want to say that's like my 2 cents, but I found it really hard to post that video because like, even though there's definitely a sense of vulnerability from, you know, I'm communicating how I got to this point, overworking, super late nights, early mornings, back to back for months on end was never going to be a recipe for success.
Yeah.
But then also what I omitted from that video, I'm not going to say anything wild, but there was many other things happening in the background which enabled me to get to that point. So in as much as, I don't know, there is a lack of transparency, but also how much are people willing to communicate? Because there's a fine line between, okay, yeah, I want to be really honest, and like literally career suicide. There's only so much you can say. There's only so much you can do as an apprentice without harming your position and being able to move into like another company.
I hear it.
Yeah.
But then also that's just a trend in our industry because I think, I can't remember the specific stats, but I think like 2 or 3% of our industry will like identify as having depression or anxiety or burnout or whatever. And that's far from the truth. When you're actually like working with around these people, you know that a lot of people are just hiding.
Unreported.
Yeah, and they're just not, they're trying to give this facade that everything's cool until it's not.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's really hard to compare when nobody wants to say anything.
Yeah, nobody wants to say anything. And honestly, some people are contractually bound not to.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
It's very hard. It's very hard to have those open conversations without that blanket of anonymity. Like I've heard rumors about why other apprentices have left their apprenticeships as a result of, you know, employer-employee disputes, or they just weren't a right fit eventually for that company. But if they talk about it, it kind of like may give the impression that maybe you're a problematic employee. We don't know the details. They can't say, you can't be fully transparent if you sign a contract because then there are going to be consequences.
Exactly. That's very true.
Yeah. Anyways,
I would say that another thing is the numbers. Like we're fortunate enough to be in a place of employment where there are multiple apprentices.
Yeah.
So we're almost sort of like a mini community because there's like 9 of us. But I feel like in most spaces there'll be 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Actually, given what's happening with the magic Magic Circle firms, they're employing like cohorts of 10, 6 and 10 every year. So I guess
in the legal space,
in the legal space, we're sort of middle ground, but it means that there are more eyes on us, and sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes that's a bad thing.
Whereas, when you say more eyes on us, by who? From who? What do you mean?
By our supervisors, by HR, by learning and development, by everyone, by uni. If you're not handing in your weekly work, then they're gonna say, why didn't you do that?
Yeah, you can't disappear.
You can't disappear. You can't miss deadlines. Yeah. You can't make a habit of not sort of ticking your boxes and meeting your goals. If your time isn't being managed well, somebody will, stop you and say, you need to fix this.
Yeah.
Whereas at uni, I was saying you can disappear, you can miss things. Obviously, the things that matter, the big things, the exams, like those have dire real consequences. But in that sort of 9 months that you are at uni doing an academic year, there are pockets of time where you can just disappear, and it's not safe to do so. Safe is not the right word, but do you know what I mean? So from a mental health perspective, I feel like, there's more attention paid to an apprentice than there is a law student. But that's just my comparison.
No, I have to agree. There's, as I say, like it's not like you're less likely to have mental health issues because you're an apprentice. You can pay for a holiday. Like, that's not how it works. It depends on who you are, the teams you're in, the supervisors, what's happening in your personal life. There's a myriad of different things that you need to consider. And one of those things you need to consider is the course.
That's a big one.
So I don't know if you wanted to talk on some of the differences.
I would say,
what's the biggest difference?
The biggest difference is the course structure. The biggest difference is the course structure and length. So there's definitely pros and cons. I think at traditional uni, you are doing 2 or 3 modules at once, simultaneously. You get examined for them at the end. And the learning style takes shape of going to lectures with 100 plus people, going to tutorials with 20 plus people, going to seminars. And I feel like it's very much you're being spread. Yeah, you have to apply your mind to multiple things
at the same time.
Yeah. Exactly.
Them lectures though, they were long.
So long.
Listen, I remember by the time we reached December, there were people, obviously our lectures started at like maybe 7 p.m. Yeah. So
I don't know how you were doing this.
Oh, it was hard, man. Honestly, that was harder than doing the apprenticeship. Hands down.
Really?
Hands down.
Yeah, because my brain would have switched off.
It's a lot. Yeah. Like after a whole working day, especially, I mean, like immigration law, after a while, you kind of do get... But, there were also other people who were like paralegals in, really large firms. I can't imagine doing a full day's worth of time recording and then going to uni until 9 p.m.
I'd be so drained.
Yeah, that is a skill. I was sleeping in lectures by the time December came. Honestly, I felt really bad for something.
But like on lectures, that's a really good thing to talk about, because at university, the lectures are like the skeleton. Like they provide you with the outline. You're supposed to have come to the lectures having done the reading, and knowing basically what he or she, the lecturer, is talking about. Whereas as an apprentice, our lectures are literally like, this is what you need to know to pass the exam.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no time to waste. We're not going to get into theoretical blah, blah, blah. Like, this is what you need to know. And this is what your client will mostly like want to know from you. Yeah. And this is how you advise them. Very and make practical. Sure you do this, this, and this. That is literally how it is. It's very practical. It's very client focused. And so, yeah, I would, on the other hand, with apprenticeships, I feel like, the teaching is much longer. You have to do one subject from start to finish, and that will take you about 2 to 3 months. This is specifically for us, by the way, because everybody has different course structures. But you're studying, contract law, from start to finish, do the exam, and then you're done with it, and then you study tort law. So it's like one by one.
Except for like the last.
Yeah, sometimes you'll get hit with 2 at the same time.
Jump scare.
Yeah. But it means that you are doing 3 modules a year for 5+ years. So it takes almost double the time that it would take you at a traditional uni. And I still don't know how I feel about that. So
I think doing the double module is very taxing. Even though it's long, I get why. Because trying to do double module plus work plus prepare for the portfolio.
Oh yeah.
My eye was moving a lot. That's a cause of stress.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot. So I kind of get why. I don't know, maybe just at the beginning they're just trying to get you in the flow. And then afterwards they're like, okay, go. So I 2 and then 1 sometimes, and just
I feel like
because the last 3 sets have been double modules.
100%.
Yeah.
But our course is not mandatory. Our degree is not mandatory. Like, according to the government who have designed these apprenticeships, you don't need a law degree to be a solicitor apprentice. You just need a portfolio and qualifying work experience and to pass the endpoint assessment, the SQE 1 and 2. So I don't think we needed to do a law degree, but we would have been looked at oddly if we were qualified lawyers who've never studied law.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But then also I kind of feel like it is good for us that we did do the law degree, because now when we go to SQE 1, 2, we're not like, oh wow, we're overwhelmed by the amount of content we now need to learn in order to do this assessment. Like we already know that we're quite good firsts for the most part. Some 2 months here and there, we do talk about this. And so you're ready to smash it.
Yeah, we're definitely set up for success. But I've just clocked that the law degree is just part of a package when it comes to our studying.
Yeah.
We've got portfolios to do. We've got a lot of on the job, like 80% of our time is actually on the job learning. Do you know how to draft this document? Do you know how to do legal research? So the learning is just a different ballpark compared to going to university. But what I do miss about university is having the opportunity to do essays.
I thought you were going to say optional modules.
Optional modules?
Yeah.
That's
Wait, what would you mean?
Getting the opportunity to do essays.
We do essays.
We don't do essays. There's been one module that we've done.
Problem questions versus legal theory. Okay, sorry. Do you want to explain that?
Okay, so I feel like at law, in law school, there are 2 types of exam questions and assessments you can do. Yeah. Problem questions where you get a factual scenario or a fact pattern and you have to analyze it and give advice. It's very client focused and very applying the law to the facts. And then you've got essays where you talk about legal theory and you talk about philosophy and jurisprudence, and there's been no opportunity for that in our apprenticeship aside from one module.
2.
Which one? I'm talking about access to justice.
Oh
yeah.
No, there's another one.
Which one?
It's not coursework. It was in an exam. They have like I can't remember if it was for the last one that I just did, or there's definitely one for wills.
Oh, okay.
There's definitely one in the exam
for wills.
Yeah, you need to come quick.
Okay, cool.
I don't want to say with critics per se, but you need to
know, like,
it's not just case
theory.
Law. Here's the
Okay.
No. You need to actually.
Fine. So it's just reduced then.
Yeah.
As an apprentice.
2 out of how many modules?
Like 15, 20, I don't know. But I just feel like there's no there's less importance placed on that. Whereas at uni,
criminal law. Sorry.
Criminal
law. That was definitely a legal theory question, because I remember reading through critics.
For my criminal, I don't know what criminal law exam you did.
I'm so serious.
For my one, there was...
it was coursework and an oral exam.
Yeah, I just remember the oral exam. I can't remember the coursework.
Okay. That was definitely a legal theory question. Because I emailed the library and I had to go and pick up a book.
Right.
It was cold. That's
why I remember. Wow.
Anyway. Sorry, yeah.
No, I'm really trying to remember this theory.
Definitely. Well,
maybe I didn't choose. If there was a choice, maybe I didn't pick it. Because I don't remember. Optional. It wasn't optional. No. I don't remember this.
I'm pretty sure we had to do an essay.
Anyway.
Yeah. I'll show you. I filmed a video about it after.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. To be fair, my memory of year 1 and year 2 is not... blur. Yeah, it's quite blurry. Yeah. I just remember it was easier. Getting life... The sun was like brighter.
Beaming.
Yeah, but I would say it's very client focused and problem question based.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think as well, like, and this will vary depending on which uni you go to. Obviously, which training provider you have for your degree apprenticeship. Not everywhere has optional modules. Some places do. But majority of them, you have to study the modules that they give you. Some places, I don't actually know of any apprenticeships where you have to do a dissertation. Like writing out the whole thing. Obviously, we have the portfolio.
That's long, yeah. If you have to do a portfolio,
I think that makes more.
Then that would be very taxing to do a dissertation on top of that.
No, separately. I have a choice between doing, because I know at full-time uni you can choose whether or not you want to do 2 extra modules or 3 extra modules, or you do a dissertation.
Yes, but depending on as an apprentice, you can't that portfolio is your passporting.
Yeah, I think it's
document.
Equivalent.
There's no option. You can't be a degree apprentice without the portfolio, because I think that's something that exists
mandatory.
Yeah, in all degree apprenticeships.
All apprenticeships, I think.
Yeah, you have to meet the skills and the behaviours and the competencies. It's basically your proof that you're
an apprentice.
You've hit your milestones.
We have to hand in essays every week, whereas not everywhere you will have that.
Yeah. Yeah. There was no weekly essays when I was in uni.
Oh, not at all.
Yeah.
I think the only places I knew that had weekly essays was one of the Oxbridge.
Makes sense.
I can't remember which one.
I remember hearing
both. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Cambridge, my friends that were in Cambridge, they were doing weekly essays.
Yeah.
And they were doing stuff like English and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know about most other law degrees. Horror. Yeah. Crazy. And now we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's, the main difference.
Yeah, and also I can't, because you mentioned to me that you went to an event and so you found out that some apprentices were going to university in person. So this isn't applicable to all apprentices.
Oh, yeah.
But for us, it's an online course. And it's very independent, individual. You log in, you do your work, you hand it in. There's no collaboration.
Yeah.
At all.
I'm happy.
I know you're happy.
Sorry, no. I've heard really bad things about these group tasks.
Yeah, I'm glad that we don't have to work on anything together and hand it in together, because that is just a source of, there's going to be people that are going to put in effort and people that aren't. And I don't like to get involved in that. But
politics.
Yeah, the small politics that we don't need.
Yeah.
But in terms of sitting down, co-working, group study, just facilitating that sort of camaraderie, like we're all in this together. Or maybe this is a big life task, let's break things down. I'm going to focus on this, you focus on this, and let's explain it to each other afterwards. There's no opportunity for that with our style of working. So if you are a collaborative learner and you work well with others, then you're going to have to sort of facilitate that group work if you're an apprentice. Whereas it's easy to, after the lecture, let's go to the cafe or let's go to the bar or to the SU and do this work together.
Yeah.
When you're at law school.
Sorry.
It's fine. And that to me also goes hand in hand with accountability. Like you've got less people. I think you're accountable to different people. Yeah. So as an apprentice, your supervisor might check in. Have you done your essay? Uni will pop up if you don't do it. But outside of that, it's a very individual relationship that you have with the people that are receiving your work and marking it and making sure you're getting your grades. Whereas at law school, I feel like, you know, there are people that are the first club and they all want to get first.
Yeah.
And they're working together and they're pushing each other. There's also competition culture, but there are people to be accountable to and to help inspire and motivate you on your like law school journey.
Yeah.
So that's a very big difference as well.
So this is the Q&A segment. In every episode, we'll be answering a question, reacting to a scenario, or giving advice where appropriate. Feel free to send in questions or scenarios of your own, and obviously it will be communicated on this podcast in an anonymous fashion, as we clarified yesterday. So yeah, if you did want to do that, then please feel free to email apprenticeish@gmail.com, no spaces. Lovely. So today's question is, do I go to Oxbridge or do a degree apprenticeship? Do you want to go first?
I can, but my answer is not going to be what this person is looking for, because nobody can make that decision for you.
Yeah.
And I hate it. Like, I do get a lot of messages from people like, actually in university saying, should I drop out? Yeah. And I'm just like, why are you talking to me about this? Like, I can help you in terms of pros and cons. I feel like the more information you have, the clearer your answer will be. Some people don't like information overload. I love it. I will research everything before I make a decision. But it really is about what matters to you, because Oxbridge really matters to some people.
It does.
The sixth form I went to was a very religious, bougie sixth form where, you know, the outcomes for a lot of the young men there were, I'm going to Cambridge, I'm going to Oxford, or I'm going to be a priest. Like, it was very much, those were the three like options, and it mattered to them.
Yeah.
Whereas even though I was being encouraged to apply to Cambridge, I wasn't trying to go to a university whose academic structure was deliberately different from all the other universities. You know, you'd go in, term time is different, holidays are different. Also, I don't know, I really liked, like, it was very heartwarming to see like the Stormzy scholarship and the improving diversity in a university like that. But for me personally, if I was looking at my options, and a degree apprenticeship was there, because I am a practical learner, because I'm quick when I get to have a go at it and then practice it and hone it. That's how I develop my skills. And I don't want the student debt. I would pick a degree apprenticeship, but that's the right decision for me. I do understand that we are in a really good position having done both uni and an apprenticeship. So that question is going to be very frequent. But yeah, I think that you just need to make a plan for yourself. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 3 years? What would you want to achieve in that time? And then it becomes abundantly clear whether you would like to be an Oxbridge graduate or a degree apprentice en route to qualification. It becomes so clear. But yeah, definitely list the pros and cons and do a little, whatever it is you do, mind map or reflection or discussion, get it all out there. And then I think the decision will be clear.
I think definitely think about your motive. I feel like I definitely was one of those people who was like, I want to go Oxford.
Really?
I really enjoyed their law course there.
Really?
Made me very happy. Yeah. It's me. But the fact of the matter is, of course, no one can make that decision for this person. I think there's pros to both and there are cons to both. But in the grand scheme of things, like, first of all, you can apply to both of them. So if we're thinking practically, you're still not sure and like the application time is open around, make the applications anyway.
Yeah.
Even if you're considering, you know, just 2 firms, you can still submit an application. So at least then you actually do have the decision of going rather than, should I apply to both? Like, every firm that you apply to could reject you. this apprenticeship, like, is very competitive.
So competitive.
Same with Oxbridge. It's also very competitive.
But there are more spaces in Oxbridge.
Yeah.
Than there are apprenticeships.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So I think if you're thinking about whether you should go to one or the other, first of all, actually apply to both. If you then end up in the predicament where you have your results and they actually allow you to go to both, because, you know, I think I've not come across a story personally where someone has missed their A-level grade and, you know, they haven't gotten the apprenticeship. Or they have. I don't know what that circumstance would be. You'd have to contact someone from HR from the company, I'd assume. Because obviously you haven't met the requirement for entering that role. But yeah, I do think that there is a beauty in understanding why you want to do the apprenticeship. Because and it's not like, I don't want to say it's wrong. I don't want to say it's a bad thing either. But sometimes the reason why people want to do apprenticeships is because of what's right in front of them. They're seeing a lot of social content about, you know, all of the benefits, and they just want to get the qualification with no debt. But there's more to it. You can't just say... I don't want to say you can't just say, because some people do say, and they get the job and, you know, they manage their way through it. But I think if you're looking for something that's going to enrich you, you need to think about your intentions as to why you would want to go to Oxford, or why you'd want to go to, Oxbridge, or why you'd want to do a degree apprenticeship.
Yeah.
Because if you're doing it for clout and status to say, oh, I went to Oxbridge, or like, you have to be real with yourself. Only you can know whether or not, you know, your intentions are genuine. Or you want to finish saying, oh yeah, I don't have any student debt and I've been earning 55k for like the last year or so. Like, who are you doing this for?
Yeah, I do hate some of the social media content I see where it's like, why, like, if you do a degree apprenticeship, there's no student debt. It's a no-brainer. That no-brainer phrase, it annoys me, because I'm like, it's not a no-brainer.
Yeah. Literally started a LinkedIn post about this very topic.
Don't project, like, for the people that are saying it's a no-brainer, no student debt, you have a very specific relationship with money.
Yeah.
And so for you, it's a no-brainer. But for people that don't see that as an L, student debt, or don't see, you know, what's being taken off of their salary as, oh, why did I do this? I'm full of regret. It really depends on your relationship with money, with time, with what you want for yourself. And what you said was so true. Like, you hit the nail on the head. Your desire for a degree apprenticeship, or your desire for a university experience, has to be so genuine, and it has to be strong, because there are people that are in a position of indecisive sort of paralysis, and they're like, okay, I'm going to apply for both, and hopefully the decision will be made for me.
Yeah.
Like, I won't get any uni places, and I'll get an apprenticeship place, or no apprenticeship will be made available for me, so I'll just go to uni. But there's a power in saying, I chose this. This is what I want for me. I'm proud of it. I'm going to carry on. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, brain dump onto a page and see if any clarification comes from that.
So I think even though people are screaming about student debt, the equivalent with the apprenticeship is your literal life time. Spending, obviously, most degrees, particularly in law, 3 years, unless you wanted to add something extra like a language or something else.
A year in the industry, a year abroad.
Yeah. Then that will be 4 years.
Yeah.
But 6 years, and when we say 6 years,
it's more than that.
It's between 6 and 7.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? It all depends on, it's not, so when people say it's a 6-year program or a 5-year program, it's not 5 years. It's actually not possible, I don't think, to finish in 5 years.
No.
Just because of dates and, you know, times and stuff like that. So it's over 6 years, but tech could be earlier than 7 years if you like.
If things go smoothly.
Yeah.
And no resits and anything like that. Yeah.
So, you know, it is a long time, something to think about seriously.
Yeah. I wanted to add that there's also more freedom of choice. If you went the university route, you can do the degree. You might decide, I need a gap year or a year of whatever. Or you might decide, after studying all these modules, I started out wanting to work in family law, but now I think I want to work in aviation law. There's more opportunity to to turn and twist and do U-turns, and it's broken up. Your degree, your training, where you want to work long term. Whereas it's a package deal for us. And so it's just one after the other. And people are telling you in year 2 of your undergraduate, of your degree, about your postgraduate degree and how, this is going to be useful for 2 years time, 3 years time, 4 years time. You're not thinking about that. You're just like, what? That is also another important consideration. And you said the word enrichment, which I feel like there's a lot of scope for that at university. You've got your 3-month holidays in the summer to go traveling. And my university friends, my besties from university, like I'm going to their weddings now. Some of them met their spouses at uni.
Don't go to uni just to find a man, please.
I'm just saying.
I'm saying we have to say that because I actually know people personally who go to uni to find a husband.
That's mad.
Please.
That can't be your primary reason for going to university.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you meet lifetime friends there sometimes.
100%.
And you make core memories. So it's really a decision for you.
Yeah, agreed. And now we have a golden nugget.
Golden nugget.
Do you wanna?
Yeah, I'll do mine first because mine is a quote, and it's, I don't know who it's from. So it says, "I won't follow where the path may lead. I will go instead where there is no path, and I will leave a trail." And that to me is a message for those that are fearful about choosing a degree apprenticeship over a traditional route. If they know that that's what they want, I would use that quote to sort of push you to go for it. And it's also a message to degree apprentices. We are trailblazers, and a lot of the information that we give to the people behind us is so valuable and life-changing that you just need to own that, and you need to leave a trail. You can't just be trying something new and then keeping it a secret. Really help other people. You can be a mentor and a mentee at the same time. Yeah. So yeah.
Agreed. So my one is, if you're struggling with something socially, mentally, or physically, speak up. Nobody, I repeat, nobody can survive internal bleeding.
Internal bleeding. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
There's a motivational speaker that I listen to a lot called Dr. Eric Thomas. He's not a physician doctor. He has his, relevant qualifications. And he talks about trying to deal with everything inside of you and keeping everything in. And no matter how strong you are or how fast you are or how smart you are, nobody can survive internal bleeding. Keeping everything inside all the time can be very counterproductive and harmful to you or physical, mental, social, etc. health.
Yeah.
So yeah, speak up.
Speak up.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay. Yeah. So that's everything. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.